This woodcutter was so perverted. Not only did he spy on the fairy bathing, he even stole her clothes, stopping her from returning to the heavenly realm. She was forced to marry this poor man and have his children. Shockingly, the unlucky fairy agreed to this nonsense, and gave birth to 3 kids in a row. The only reason this poor guy married a fairy was because a spotted deer gave him the idea. One day the woodcutter went out to chop wood, and happened to run into a hunter, who was chasing a spotted deer. The kind-hearted woodcutter hid the deer in his firewood pile to save it. To repay the life-saving favor, the deer decided to help the single woodcutter of 20+ years find a fairy wife. Every night on the 15th, fairies would bathe in a lake under a waterfall. The deer brought the woodcutter there, and told him to steal one of the fairy's robes. Without her robe the fairy couldn't fly, and was forced to marry the poor guy. She even had 3 kids with him, from a free fairy in the sky, to a trapped housewife on earth. The fairy missed her life in heaven, especially during the Dragon Boat Festival every year. She would always feel homesick. Sometimes when she saw other girls swinging high, she imagined herself flying back to the sky, and tears would roll down her face. The woodcutter once asked the deer, "She's already given birth to 3 kids. Should we give her clothes back?" Surprisingly, the deer said, "Don't give it back until she has a 4th child." The night, the fairy who missed her home so much, cried quietly while looking at the moon. The woodcutter felt sorry, but still refused to return the robe. Then his old mother said to him, "Let her see the robe at least, as long as you don't let her wear it and fly away. Just a peek won't hurt." The woodcutter thought that made sense, so he brought out the robe, but he instantly regretted it. The moment he showed it, the robe flew right onto the fairy. She flew away with her 3 kids to the sky. The woodcutter lost his wife and children. He sat by the waterfall every day, not eating or drinking. At that moment the deer appeared again, and it turned out the deer was quite capable. It had a way to bring the fairy back from heaven. On another full moon night, this time no fairies appeared, only a bucket was lowered from the sky. Seems like they learned their lesson. The fairies were too scared to come down. The woodcutter leaped onto the bucket, and followed it all the way up to heaven. There he met his children again. The whole family reunited in the sky. But over time, the woodcutter started missing his old mother, so he wanted to return to the mortal world. Just then a Pegasus flew down beside him. The fairy said this was a heavenly horse. Ride it to visit your mother, but come back quickly. The woodcutter mounted the horse, and the horse quickly brought him home. His mother held his hand, asking him to come in and tell his story, but the woodcutter said he had to leave right away. His mother was heartbroken. She asked him to eat a bowl of porridge before leaving, then return to the sky to be with his wife and kids, and not worry about her anymore. The woodcutter trembled with sadness. Unexpectedly, the porridge spilled onto the horse's back. The hot porridge burned the Pegasus. The horse got mad and dumped the woodcutter off its back, then flew back to heaven and left him behind, leaving the woodcutter alone in grief and rage. From then on, he stared at the sky missing his family. Eventually he turned into a rooster, crying helplessly toward the heavens every morning.